Hey everyone, Skull902 here, and today I'll once again be digging into some more secrets and trivia with my extra video for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If you're interested, please do lay back and enjoy the ride because here we go. Much like in Sonic 2, there's a couple gameplay elements I didn't show in either of the two LPs. Starting off with the Sonic 3 title screen here, you'll notice that it's very similar to the one for the full game. You know, you still got Sonic bursting through the Sega logo and stuff. It just says Sonic 3 as opposed to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You'll notice the music is different too, and I will touch on that a little bit later on. But yeah, Sonic 3 title screen, basically the same as the full game. Now the Sonic and Knuckles title screen. This one is pretty different. You know, you got the Sega logo and it like glitches out, and what's that? The Death Egg in the background, and whoa, gee, look at that pseudo 3D with Sonic and Knuckles in their own game. Holy shit. You know, good stuff, good stuff. I love it. Now we have Tails' gameplay. Tails is basically the same as Sonic, except, unlike in Sonic 2, Tails can actually fly, and we're going to see a little demonstration of that right now. You just jump, and then press the jump button again, and boom, you're flying. Some would consider Tails the easy mode because of that. I would disagree for the first half of the game, but whatever. If you fly underwater, he does a little doggy paddle. He can swim. Ain't that adorable? This right here, I don't know if I directly mentioned that it's a little different in the LP proper, but here we have the Marble Garden boss, and like, you know, since you don't have Sonic to like jump off and hit Eggman, you gotta hit him with your tails. Like, when you're flying, Tails' tails can be used offensively, like it'll show right here. But sometimes this boss can like be a total bitch, and he's got 4 flight patterns. He'll go down on the 3rd one, and then he'll go up on the 4th one. I'm not showing the whole thing because it's a total bitch and a half, but yeah, there we go. It's the Marble Garden boss, and I hate it. This right here is the fucking Carnival Night boss, and I wanted to show this one off because I didn't really, you know, like I blew through him as Super Sonic in the normal LP. So what he does basically is he throws his green ball down, and then he'll start up an electrical shield or like a gravitational pole or whatever, and you get sucked into it. You gotta keep jumping out. The electric shield helps with this boss. That was just me being an idiot. But normally what you want to do is what I'm about to show off right here. You know, he'll drop the ball down again, and then what you got to do basically after that is wait for him to finish up here. Fucking Eggman, can't hurry up. This boss takes way too much time. But you just bounce on him like that, and it takes way too long in my personal opinion. So, Tails does not have any kind of a super form once you get all of the Chaos Emeralds, but he does when you get all of the Super Emeralds. So, all 14 Emeralds and you get Super Tails. Invincible, he's faster, I think he doesn't drown. Basically the same as like Hypersonic or Hyper Knuckles, but you may notice that he also has these flickies here. And the interesting thing about the flickies is that they'll go after enemies. And it's not just enemies. Like in this clip here, you can see that it's actually going after the laser cannon there. So they can be effective at fighting off bosses as well. Just not with certain bosses, but whatever. So, in the standalone Sonic 3, once you beat Eggman's machine here, he'll go up, and instead of, you know, just giving up and everything, he sends out the Big Arm. The Big Arm that we fought in Knuckles' playthrough. They took it out for Sonic's for whatever reason, but he does have a different, like a slightly different attack pattern anyway, than with Knuckles, and I am going to show this whole boss off, because I feel like as the climactic fight for Sonic 3, we should see how it goes. But, you know, use the Insta-Shield for this boss, because, like, I don't know, Sonic's normal jump sometimes it can feel a little unreliable, I guess, when it comes to this boss. At least for me. I don't have a whole lot of experience fighting this guy as Sonic, and obviously he doesn't have a glide like Knuckles does. So, you know, like, it's a little more difficult, but with the insta shield and a well-timed jump, you know, you can get things done basically. And if you have Super Sonic during this, what I would recommend is, like, you jump behind him when he's floating around and hit him from behind. He can grab Super Sonic and drain him of his rings. He can't do that to Super Knuckles, so that stronger than Sonic theory is still going strong, but you know, you just hit him 8 times as per usual and Eggman goes down. We'll see what happens after this in a little bit. Knuckles has an intro cutscene in Sonic and Knuckles, not 3 and Knuckles, but much like Sonic with Angel Island Zone in Sonic 3 and the full game, they decided to give Knuckles his own little intro here that shows that the Egg Robo is the main enemy of Knuckles' playthrough, so that's pretty neat. So there are extra special stages. For this one, you've got to go into the level select in Sonic 3, put 7 in the sound test, and hold A and start when selecting special stage number 2. It's really weird and complicated, but I'm going to presume they made it that way because this special stage, this fucking special stage is such a kick in the dick. It's not fun. Like, I spent an hour recording this. It doesn't look so hard now, but this is like basically what it is that you have a blue sphere, a bumper, and another blue sphere like right behind it. And sometimes you can overshoot your jump when you're going fast enough. You know, you can like mistime it and go into the bumper and then get bumped back into the blue sphere turned red sphere. Like, again, it's not so bad now, but once it gets to around 31 spheres left, like, it starts getting really fast and you've got to be super careful about your timing. Like, you've got to be 100% on the ball when it gets down to like the final 10. It's really, really difficult. They put this one in Mania as well, and I remember that one being like the last one that I needed to get the silver medals in Mania, and like, fucking A, man. This one is a total bitch, and I can see like why they made it so complicated to get to in the level select, because like, I've got to imagine that like it was just way too hard, you know. And that's probably why they also didn't use it in the game proper. Here is just like, you've got to get your timing down like so correct. It's, oh god, it is such a hard-ass special stage. I can't really describe to you, but it's all about like perfect timing and just, I don't know, luck. Luck is what I'll say is what you need mostly. In Sonic and Knuckles, they also have a 8th special stage. It gives you a Super Emerald. And this one is significantly easier than the other one. This part's a little tricky if you don't know what to do, but like, once you get past that, it's a pretty simple pattern. Like, you just go ahead and you like jump over these bumper spheres here, and then you're fine, pretty much. Like, it's not that hard of a special stage at all. The only trouble I really had, aside from the tricky bit, was the stage speed increasing on me at the wrong time. But there you go. It's your Super Emerald right there. Neither of these 2 secret 8th emeralds have any effect in-game, unless if for this one here, if you have 6 Super Emeralds, it'll let you collect this one as the 7th. But that's pretty much it. Otherwise, they don't really have any kind of effect. Knuckles is playable in Death Egg Zone via the level select. And you know, it's kind of neat to be able to play as Knuckles in the final zone, since you don't get to in the normal playthrough. Act 1 is unbeatable. Not even Super Knuckles can reach this guy, so unfortunately you can't like do a full playthrough of Death Egg Zone as Knuckles because he just can't hit that guy. But you can go into Act 2, and Act 2 is beatable. So, you know, you definitely you can definitely see how well you can do with Knuckles' gimped jump at the end. You know, he fights this boss. He fights Mr. Fingers. You know, just as Sonic does. You know, you do it the exact same way. Just do a little spin dash, bing, bam, boom. You know, good stuff. When you beat that, you can fight him this way as well. I believe you can jump just high enough to hit him in the nose. I decided to fight him as Super Knuckles and just like completely destroy this guy. You know, just for the hell of it, since I had enough rings. But once you beat him, it showed Eggman before, but I guess they had planned on this at some point because, you know, Egg Robo's there. And then once you beat him, once you beat this particular part, it just boots you back to the title screen. So, yeah. Here's the multiplayer. You can choose between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, so I guess technically Sonic 3 was Knuckles' first playable appearance. You gotta make sure to, you know, wait until the timer says go at the start, or else you'll cause a fault and both players will have to start over again. Tails can fly, which is surprisingly game-breaking. So, you know. Here is the first stage. This is Azure Park. Or, sorry, Azure Lake. This here is Balloon Park. See, I'm getting the names all mixed up. I don't know too much about the multiplayer, to be honest, but Balloon Park, right here. This one is Chrome Gadget. Showing that Knuckles is playable here. This is Desert Palace, which is basically like hold right to win, I find. And then this here is Endless Mine. So, yeah, good stuff with the multiplayer in Sonic 3. It's pretty fun to go around. Not as extensive as the last one was, but here are some cheat codes for this game. So for level select in Sonic 3, you have to input the code up, up, down, down, up, 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 up. You have to do this right as the Sega logo darkens and before the full title screen shows up. This gives you less than 2 seconds to put the code in, and there are a large number of frames where your input won't count. For that reason, this code is infamously difficult to pull off. In the Sonic Jam compilation for the Sega Saturn, they fixed this by just letting you input the code while on the title screen. No precise timing required. Thankfully, the Game Genie code AA6T-AAXC will let you access the level select no problem. In Sonic and Knuckles, as well as the full game, the code is a lot simpler. In the standalone SNK, put in the code left, 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 right, 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 up, 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 while on one of the pulleys in Mushroom Hill. You'll hear a ring chime if you pull it off correctly. For the combined game, the same code works on the Swinging Vines in Angel Island Zone. Press A and start to return to the title screen in these versions. In Sonic 3 standalone and the full game, after inputting the code, the option Sound Test will appear on the title screen by scrolling down, which takes you to the level select menu. In Sonic and Knuckles, you need to select a character and press A and start to get there. This code works only in Sonic 3 standalone, but once you're in the level select menu, you can play the sounds 2, 4, 5, and 6 to start the game with all Chaos Emeralds. Those pesky special stages, who needs them? In Sonic 3, once you've input the level select code, you've also enabled debug mode. No extra steps required. Just pick a level and press A and start. In Sonic and Knuckles, it is a very complicated process that involves tricking the locked-on game, which I don't think I could do justice explaining. Here's a screenshot from Sonic Retro's wiki on how to do it. In 3 and Knuckles, all you have to do is put in the level select code on one of the pulleys in Mushroom Hill and then go back to the level select menu. Once there, again, just press A and start when entering a zone to activate debug. Night mode works only in the Sonic 3 half and is activated the same way as it is in Sonic 2. Just choose a level, then press C and start to play with most of the graphics darkened. And now the endings that we missed. There are quite a lot of them, so let's see what we've got. So first off, we've got Sonic's bad ending in Sonic 3. Again, like I said earlier, showing what happens here now. You beat Eggman with the big arm, and much like in the full game, like the platform starts breaking off from like the launch platform, I guess, whatever. Screw it. It breaks off, basically, just like in the full game. But the Death Egg here It doesn't just like fall down. Like, it motherfucking explodes and shit. Like, goddamn, it just went away. And, you know, afterwards, Sonic will pull off a little pose, and then he punches you. So for Sonic's good ending, what we've got after the explosion is, you know, he does his little pose, jumps off, and, you know, scares the shit out of us before showing us that he's okay. Transforms into Super Sonic. Cool pose. For Tails' ending in Sonic 3, I don't think there's any difference. Again, just like with Sonic 2, if you play Sonic 3 standalone, he just does that. I don't think there's any difference. Though I did notice that the Death Egg was still falling, which is weird. Anyway, so this is both for Sonic and Tails, their bad ending in the full game. It starts off like once you beat Eggman there at the end of Death Egg Act 2. Oh no, you've lost the Master Emerald. But fortunately, Tails will catch you. But unfortunately, you know, since the Master Emerald is now lost in space, you can't just go to Angel Island and restore it to its proper state. You just can't. It's impossible. You can't do it. It's impossible. I'm just gonna keep saying this over and over, but you can't do it. So I guess Sonic and Tails, even though they can't restore the island, they just do like a sad fly around to reflect on the adventure that they just had, or something along those lines. And you know, it's a little somber, you know, because you also don't get the animals that follow you around there, so they're just like flying and reflecting, I guess. And after that, Sonic just does a different pose, jumping off of the plane to do it, and well, that's the end of Sonic's bad ending. For Tails, it's more of the same. You know, he loses the Master Emerald in space, and then Sonic catches him. So, you know, whatever. At least they're both there for each other. You know, the island stays sunk. You know, just more of the same. No animal buddies. And then Tails will jump off and do his same pose from Sonic 3's ending. So there you go. But after all of this, there's a little bit that shows you exactly what happened. Eggman got the fucking Master Emerald.
I love you, and it's implied that I'm doing a naughty.
But what about Knuckles? So when you beat Mecha Sonic there, he'll explode just like he does in the other two endings. But like you don't get the Master Emerald back, and Knuckles is shown to be quite tired from his journey if you don't have all the emeralds. So you know, Sonic just brings it. Knuckles, what are you doing the thumbs up for? I thought you were injured. You scared the shit out of me, Knuckles. What the fuck, you liar? You piece of shit liar? What the hell? Well, anyway, after I've been deceived, the Master Emerald, you know, it's not there, so Angel Island will fall, and it'll be like that for the whole credits sequence. It just falls down slowly and sadly, letting you know that you failed. But you know, it's I guess that's just the way it is, you know. If you don't have a Master Emerald, you can't float your Angel Island. So, you know, at the end of the credits, it will sink into the ocean again. Knuckles has unsuccessfully tried saving the island. And it just ends like that. You know, whatever. It's sad. Wait, Mecha Sonic? You exploded. You were done. You were bits and pieces. How did he hide himself and repair himself? I don't get it. But apparently he has possession of the Master Emerald in the bad ending. So, eh. So for Sonic and Tails' good ending in the full game, for Sonic, I just wanted to show that you could play in Doomsday Zone as Super Sonic if you don't have the full set of the Super Emeralds, or if you only got the full set of the Chaos Emeralds. And then once it ends, he'll carry off the Master Emerald, and then he detransforms, because I guess it was too much for him, using the Chaos Emerald's power. So he doesn't stay in super form throughout the whole falling bit. They go to Angel Island, and it starts to float up once again. You know, the Master Emerald has been saved, Angel Island has been saved. It's all good stuff. And then you get your animal buddies. You get your fucking seagulls. You get your Echo the dolphins there. And then Sonic will transform into Super Sonic and do another cool pose. So for Tails, no super form, but he does fall down with the emerald. Make sure that it doesn't go floating off into space like a fucking idiot. You know, Sonic catches him. Good guy Sonic is. The island will start to float once again. You know, good shit, good shit, good shit. You got your animal buddies. And, you know, same pose, though. Come on, Tails, be original. Fuck's sake. Come on, Tails. The fuck? Unoriginal dick. Keep doing the same thing. But afterward, it has a little foreshadowing, a little reason to go play Knuckles' story. The Egg Robo rises from the debris of his brethren. So, yeah, I think that's a nice little touch there. So for Knuckles' good ending, what we get is the fucking Angel Island there. Knuckles isn't in his super form, but the Master Emerald is safe. It's safe, rather, I should say. It's saved, you know. So Knuckles is able to restore Angel Island to its natural state, the way that it should be. And he doesn't lie to me in this ending, so I really like it. So, you know, that's good. And, like, just like in the best ending for Knuckles, it will float up into space. We don't get an after credits thing. We just get this screen, which I find a little weird, but whatever. You know, it's cool. It's cool. Angel Island is saved. And then for Tails' best ending, much like with Sonic, he's in his super form, he's Super Tails, and he's carrying the Master Emerald down where Sonic will catch him and whatnot. So, good beans. Good beans. I meant to say cool beans, but whatever. Fuck it. You know, this is the improvised bit. Save Angel Island. You know, good stuff. And then after that, we get Knuckles. We get the little scene with Knuckles, just like in Sonic's best ending. So you get some closure for Knuckles in the story, and then you got your bunnies. And then you know, Tails will transform and then do his pose. Still entirely unoriginal, but I guess it's slightly different. I forgive you, Tails. I forgive you. And of course, after the credits, Tails gets his own variant on this little logo screen here. So I think that's pretty cool. That they all get one, and those are all the endings for the game that I missed. Here's a bit of some interesting unused material from both halves of the game. In Sonic and Knuckles, there are a couple of unused sprites for the bonus games, like this Super Sonic icon for the slot machine, or these two gumballs. The F-ball can be placed in debug mode, but it isn't functional, and I can't really tell what it would have been used for. Perhaps it stood for fail and kicked your sorry ass out of the stage. The S-ball is suspected to have granted an instantaneous super transformation once you exited the gumball game. I may like using the super forms a whole lot, but I'm glad they kept it up to the player's discretion. There's an odd debug object in the Sonic 3 standalone Angel Island that's a huge mass of red spheres, not unlike the ones from the special stage. Again, no clue what it would or could have been used for. Placing the object only screws up the color palette of the level, and it can be manipulated in size and movement by the second controller. Pretty trippy if you ask me. In the level select of Sonic 3, you'll notice that unlike the full game, there are some Sonic 2 style zone icons near the sound test. In the level select menu, Flying Battery Zone uses Hilltop's icon, but hidden in the game's code is a proper icon for Flying Battery, featuring a slightly different background color palette than in the final game. Because it was the radical, extreme, totally tubular 90s, at one point in development, Sonic was going to surfboard onto Angel Island in the opening cutscene. Here's the animation for it. Sonic's sprite is noticeably based on his Sonic 2 appearance, so this was probably cut very early on. It's still in the game's files though, and thank God for it. I know I would be totally lost in life if I had never seen Sonic catching some sick waves. One of the selling points of Sonic & Knuckles was the lock-on technology that allowed the game to be connected to the previous 2 Sonic titles for the Genesis, in addition to Sonic 3. If you look closely at the Sonic & Knuckles logo, you'll see that the logo itself demonstrates the lock-on feature, which is pretty gosh darn nifty. The most popular result of this lock-on feature, aside from the full 3 Knuckles, is Knuckles in Sonic 2, which of course lets you play as Knuckles in that game. Knuckles retains his gameplay from 3 and K, but they did make some changes to the way Sonic 2 worked. For instance, in the normal game, if you go to a special stage you lose all your rings. But Knuckles in Sonic 2 keeps the way checkpoints work in 3 and K so that you retain your rings. Also, Super Sonic in Sonic 2 is activated purely by jumping, but like in 3 and K, Knuckles has to double tap jump to go super once he has all the emeralds. They even put in some hidden goodies like extra lives in certain places Sonic can't reach for the explorative types. Nowadays this kind of thing seems pretty standard in ROM hacks or whatever, but back in the day it must have been some amazing shit to see a character from a future game being placed in a past game like this. Connecting Sonic and Knuckles to Sonic 1 gives you Blue Sphere. This also works with most other Genesis games unless the total file size of Sonic and Knuckles as well as the game connected to it exceeds 4 megabytes. Super Street Fighter 2 is a good example. With the non-Sonic games that work, Blue Sphere will only give you 1 level. With Sonic 1, there are a possible 134,217,728 level combinations to play. The stages are all randomly selected bits from other Blue Sphere levels with a random color palette. Players can choose either Sonic or Knuckles. Tails, unfortunately, isn't available, neither by himself or following Sonic. The game itself wasn't officially named until the Sonic Mega Collection came out in 2002. Sonic Jam avoided naming it, and until the Mega Collection it had been known as either No Way or Get Blue Spheres in reference to the scrolling text on top of the title screen. But why didn't connecting Sonic and Knuckles to Sonic 1 let you play as Knuckles in Sonic 1? Well, the answer is quite interesting. Many fans speculated for years why Knuckles in Sonic 1 wasn't a thing. Some theories were made as to why it wasn't possible, including one about a game-breaking glitch involving the conveyor belts and scrap brain zone if Knuckles were to glide onto them, but the real reason was color palette issues. Unlike in Sonic 2, a lot of the enemies share Sonic's color palette in the first game, and thus, inserting Knuckles into the first game led to some screwed up graphics. In September 2005, nearly 11 years after the release of Sonic & Knuckles, a then unknown hacker named Stealth fixed the issue by removing 2 shades of red from Knuckles' palette and changing the color of his socks to blue. The hack Knuckles in Sonic 1, which I've been using footage from, put Stealth on the map, which came to a head with his involvement in developing Sonic Mania. Who says messing with other people's stuff can't get you anywhere, am I right? And now for the more random stuff. There's a really neat time bonus you can get in the game. Normally the highest time bonus is for 50,000 points for completing a stage in under a minute, but that's not the neat bonus. If you wait until the timer reaches 9:59 to beat a stage, you'll be awarded 100,000 points, which will net you 2 lives. Of course, it's kind of tricky since if you're a second late you'll die. The best place to get this bonus is in Knuckles' Carnival Night Act 2, where there's no boss for you to worry about. I already mentioned the mural inside Hidden Palace, but there's one more secret contained in the level. Accessible only by Tails in normal gameplay, there are a series of item boxes on the top of the stage for you to get if you fly up this path. There are 2 platforms on top of this path where the monitors are kept. Some have speculated that they might be here for testing purposes, but the reasoning behind their placement is uncertain. Perhaps they wanted to give you a nice reward for being explorative with Tails, who knows. Due to the necessary split of the game into 2 halves, the developers made some changes to Sonic 3's level design to make it a little more difficult, maybe as a way to extend the game's time a little bit and to give the player more bang for their buck. The 2 examples I always think of are this bit in Hydro City, where the spring that was previously there in Sonic 3 is now an extra life in the full game, and in Launch Base where this dangerous spot with 2 Eggman monitors in Sonic 3 was changed to be a lot more friendly in the full game. I touched upon this in the LP, but when you're improvising the commentary you tend to be less articulate. So, Michael Jackson's involvement in the production of Sonic 3 has been up to a hell of a lot of debate over the years. Basically, the only thing we know for sure is that Michael Jackson did indeed visit Sega of Japan's offices while the game was being conceived, and that he was apparently a fan of Sonic. Some say that whatever agreement he had with Sega was dropped as a result of the child molestation allegations Michael faced in 1993. Some say it was because Michael was unhappy with the way the Genesis' soundboard produced his compositions. Interviews about it are all over the place. Roger Hector claims that Sonic 3 was entirely composed by Jackson, but the music was dumped after the allegations were made public. Howard Jawson, who composed most of the Sonic & Knuckles soundtrack, has said that Michael had nothing to do with the final product. One of Jackson's longtime contributors, Brad Buxer, who is credited in the game, has said that at least one of Michael's tracks made it into the game and that the chords were used for his song Stranger in Moscow from History. Indeed, some have noticed a few similarities in a few of the songs on Sonic 3's soundtrack. Knuckles' theme has been noticed to contain elements of Blood on the Dance Floor. Carnival Night's music has elements of Jam. Ice Cap, I noted in the LP, takes much of its main theme from Hard Times by the Jetsons, a song that was composed by Brad Buxer, who also composed Ice Cap's music, but the Zone's themes also bear similarities to Smooth Criminal and Who Is It, and of course, the Sonic 3 credits sound like Stranger in Moscow sped up. Interesting is that some music, like Knuckles' theme and the mini-boss music, along with the title theme and Invincibility music, which we know weren't composed by Jackson, were replaced with new tracks in Sonic & Knuckles. Nobody knows for absolute sure what Michael's involvement in the Sonic 3 soundtrack was, but it has had an impact on re-releases of the game. While it does appear in Sonic-specific compilations, it's usually nowhere to be found in more broad Genesis compilation games or budget consoles. In one particular case, some of the music was replaced. Let's talk about that. So on the 1997 PC release of the Sonic & Knuckles collection, which used new MIDI versions of both soundtracks, the songs I had previously mentioned and a couple more were replaced entirely. When you face a mini-boss in Sonic 3, it just plays the Sonic & Knuckles version of the Act 1 boss music. But here's what plays when you encounter Knuckles in Sonic 3. Carnival Night's music. Ice Cap's music. Launch Base's music. And Sonic 3's credits song. Sounds pretty different if I say so myself. Of all these, I'd say I like Ice Cap's new theme the most, but I'd take the original song over it any day of the week. So after all the Michael Jackson controversy, let's talk about something that's still weird but far more lighthearted. Sporting her hairstyle from the French Sonic Adventures comic, Amy Rose is depicted in the French manual for Sonic & Knuckles despite being nowhere in the game. The manual claims that Knuckles had kidnapped her, which means that in the French continuity, Amy must have somehow escaped either Hidden Palace, Sky Sanctuary, or the Death Egg on her own before Sonic could come to her rescue, which I consider pretty badass. Hashtag, Amy is best character in France. It's time for more inspirational Japanese box art text. Unfortunately, unlike Sonic 1, 2, and CD before it, Sonic 3 doesn't have any sort of wise writing on its cover, but Sonic & Knuckles probably has the best one of them all. It goes, Sonic races through the green fields. The sun races through a blue sky filled with white clouds. The ways of his heart are much like the sun. Sonic runs and rests. The sun rises and sets. Don't give up on the sun. Don't make the sun laugh at you. Sega once again bringing a tear to my eye with their beautiful wisdom. I don't know about you out there watching the video, but this is enough for me to forgive Sega of Japan's odd choice to put the Sonic & Knuckles logo on a white background in the Japanese box art. Hopefully the sun could be proud of me, since I only died 3 times throughout both playthroughs, and my Sonic run was deathless. This was some good stuff, and it really is too bad that they stopped doing it once Sonic Adventure came around. Much like with Sonic 2, pre-ordering Sonic 3 in Japan guaranteed you a VHS tape called the Sonic History Video.
How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, my friend, thanks for asking. The first section of this video gives us a bio on Sonic, which lets us know that he has
hair,
as well as
hand,
not to mention
shoes.
It then gets into how Sonic was made, showing us some concept art and rejected character designs. The third section chronicles the history of the Sonic games releases up to that point, with the exception of CD and the 8-bit games, and gives bios of Tails and Knuckles. After that, it shows off a demonstration of how the new shields work, and the video ends on a montage of clips including the special stage and multiplayer. At the end, the narrator says,
"See you next Sonic!"
with a little animation of Sonic running around the world like it ain't no thing. It's an interesting watch, even if there aren't any subtitles. And no, I'm not going to do a translation gag like last time because I couldn't come up with any jokes. I'll be sure to link this video in the description. In Europe, Sega collaborated with the band Right Said Fred, who are all too sexy for their shirts, to promote Sonic 3's release. The single Wonder Man dropped on March 19th, 1994, and I've gotta say, this is a pretty nice song. The music video is filled with clips of gameplay as well as some 90s-tastic imagery like this freaky skull thing, no relation, Hydro City being portrayed as some kind of toxic factory, this goofy reporter guy, everything fucking exploding, and a security officer that apparently doesn't care, and a funeral for the band's success, I guess? It's a very trippy video for a very awesome song. So in North America, to promote Sonic 3's release, Sega partnered up with the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club. The game was to launch on Wednesday, February 2nd, 1994, Groundhog Day, with Sega's advertisements referring to it as Hedgehog Day. The Groundhog Day Festival in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania broke attendance records, no doubt helped by the promotion as well as the movie Groundhog Day released a year earlier, and had Sonic all over it. There was a Sonic mascot. I feel bad for whoever donned the suit, must have been freezing. The Sonic balloon from the 1993 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was on display, and stations were set up for Sonic 3's world premiere, where the game was publicly playable for the first time. They even got the keepers of the Groundhog to give it a shot. There's a pretty cool video showing the festivities, which I've been using footage from, that's available on YouTube. I will, of course, link it in the description. They show workers setting up the Sonic balloon and even some of the sights around town. It's a really interesting watch. Must have been a fun time. So that does it for the extra part of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but I'm not quite done with the LP just yet. Something I neglected to mention is that there are a couple of prototypes Sega had made for a combined game that would have been sold in a single cartridge. The project would eventually be cancelled, but some fans took the idea and rolled with it. Join me next time as I take a look into the ROM hack Sonic 3 Complete. I've been Skull902, thank you for watching and have yourselves a wonderful day.